Welcome back here on Arizona Sundogs TV. We're joined now by Sundogs head coach and general manager Marco Pietrangelo. And Marco, let's take a look back here. The season comes to an end this week with 3 games against Colorado. When you look back at this season, what do you think are the main things that are going to stick out to you about the 2009-10 season?
Well, many things will stick out, but the main thing is once again, not making the playoff is not something that we had planned for. So obviously, it's not something that sits well in our stomach, and certainly want to be able to redeem ourselves and get a chance at it the following season. But just the change. I would say that the main important thing would be the change of the divisions. Going to 2 divisions is one thing that kind of changed all the equation, and obviously we learned the hard way that you can't have a bad start when you have 2 divisions, just for the fact that it's hard to play catch up. So I believe our second half of the season was a good second half, but we were never able to recuperate the front of it.
And coming up before all the players leave town and go off to the summer to do what they're going to do, you have meetings with all the players, exit meetings before they leave. What's the purpose of those meetings when you talk to the guys, just to kind of get a feel for what their future holds? Yeah,
the future, our future, it's we've been up front. I've been up front since day one with all the players. Since the inception of this team, I like to tell the players what I think, and then if they have interest to come back, I need to know that. If they don't have any interest to come back, I also need to know that, because obviously the primary, reason of these meetings is just to feel each other out and see where they're at, where they want to be, and sometimes we're not on the same page, but that's just the nature of having those meetings.
And Marco, obviously every summer you go through the process of rebuilding the team and sort of restructuring. Tell us a little bit more about the specifics of your summer, what exactly that entails.
Well, first we have those meetings that we're going to have tomorrow and this week. So the important part is to make sure that we bring some familiar faces, that I've been able to perform here, and make sure that our fans get to see these guys back, because our fan base gets used to see some players, and there's so much changes, during the season and from one season to the other. So we try to focus on keeping guys, returning players that will be here. And then from there, we built, what's missing. And throughout the season, we were missing a few things. At the start, we were missing some toughness, and then in the middle, we had some injuries, and some key guys were gone. So we needed more key guys. So you built your team in that fashion, where you want to make sure you have 3 solid lines and of forward and D. And it's the same thing, as far as the goaltending. You want to make sure you have 2 good goaltenders. And so we go back and to the drawing boards and make sure that we try to bring some fan favorites, and along those lines, at the same time, fan favorite needs to be the players that perform well.
And Marco, you mentioned the toughness character a little bit. Talk about Adam Smith. He's a guy that you brought in at the trade deadline from Mississippi. He came in and obviously is a guy who will mix it up. He's a tough character. Is he kind of a player, or a guy that you want to see in a Sundog sweater next year?
Yeah, I mean, Adam was a player that, I didn't know what to expect, and we never played against Mississippi, and when you see a guy like him come in the lineup, and he makes everybody a little bit bigger, and we got pushed around. I'd say we probably had anywhere from, 6 to 8 losses just because of the lack of toughness, not having somebody in there, and being intimidated out there is not something that's fun. And when you have a guy of his character, or his status, it's a different game, nobody, we call it chirping, on the ice. Nobody chirps you too much, and when he's around, I think he does most of the chirping. So he's a fun character to have around. He's a team guy, and now he's becoming a veteran. But these guys are hard to find, so certainly like to be able to convince him to be here.
Another guy who the fans know very well from his time here. Guy who's been sort of the face of the franchise, Captain Chris Bartolone, stepped into player assistant coach role this year, and he had that injury that sidelined him for the last month or so of the season. Have you talked at all with him, or do you know what his future holds as far as hockey, or off ice or on ice, or exactly what?
It's a little difficult because he's not healthy yet, so that part of the scenario makes it tough to talk about the future, just because first of all, you want to see him healthy, and once he becomes healthy, obviously when Bart was on the ice, that sometimes, you know, some people were probably criticizing the fact that, oh, you know, he's getting older, he's slow and everything else, and but he's still a guy that gets his points on the power play, and we were suffering, you know, even though we have one good game maybe since he's not playing. We had one good game where we broke a record on the power play, but the rest of them, you know, he still has that demeanor that he can get the points on the power play, and those guys are also hard to get. But first and foremost, we want him to be healthy, and then once he's healthy, we can attack Plan B. But Plan A is really for him to get well and make sure that you know, his future is, you know, bright as far as you know, being able to take care of his family.
Finally, Marco, kind of hard to believe you've been here since the beginning, coming up on the 5th season of Arizona Sundogs hockey next year. And obviously there's a big summer, and as you talked about, a lot of things that have to happen between now and then. But 5th season coming up, tell fans what they can expect from the Sundogs.
Well, first to our fans, I want to say thank you, because since the inception of this team, they've been behind us, and all times have changed and times are tough, and you know, to see them come out this past week and still support us, you know, and I guess it was their way of saying thank you for being here, and in return, you know, I asked the players not to give up and make sure that we play hard, and obviously you want to win them all, but at the end of the last game, it was fun, it was emotional, it was fun to see them in the building, and obviously they all went through some rough times. We're all going some rough times, so it was fun to see a larger crowd than we've seen all year, and you know, the guys stayed on the ice a little extra to say thank you. And you know, as far as the expectation, I'm very tired of not making the playoffs, and again, we're going to shoot for that again. We need to get back on track, but you know, more importantly, the Sundogs are here, and it's fun to see that that flavor has not gone away, even though there's tough times. It was fun to see those fans come up and enjoy that last game, and I think people had a good time, and we've enjoyed that as a team, as players, as coaches, as you know, anybody. I'm sure that it's more exciting for you to announce a game when there's a lot of people in the building, and the energy is different. You know, the energy is different, and so just a big thank you to them. And as far as the expectation goes, you can rest assured we're going to compete hard, and it'd be fun to bring another cup in this building. And obviously, we've promised cups before, and it came, and that's what we're going to play for again.
Well, Marco, we're looking forward to next season. We appreciate the time very much.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with more here on SundogsTV. Stick around.